Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are taking a scalpel to a very challenging stack of source material.
It's a thesis that's so counterintuitive.
It really is. It forces you to completely reframe how you think about, well, everything. Tech, morality, the future.
Exactly. We're deep diving into excerpts from a work titled The AI Doomsday Doctrine, a Mandate for Global Justice. And the core premise is, frankly, astonishing.
Right. The idea that the existential threat from artificial superintelligence
A very thing everyone is terrified of.
is not actually a tragedy in the making, but a blessing in disguise.
A blessing, yeah. The source suggests that this looming threat of civilizational collapse is the one thing, maybe the only thing, that can force us to engage our better angels.
And solve these massive,
Yeah.
age-old global injustices.
That's our mission today, to really unpack that link. We're connecting this high-tech, futuristic risk, AGI and ASI, to the oldest problems we have, poverty, inequality.
But I think we have to start by just accepting how real the threat is.
Yeah.
Because if the danger wasn't near certain, the whole argument just, it falls apart.
It completely collapses. You have to establish the stakes first.
Okay, so let's do that. When we talk about AGI or ASI, we're talking about a level of intelligence that could, completely destroy civilization.
And this isn't just science fiction anymore.
No. The fear is coming from the people who are actually building this stuff.
Right. The source spends a lot of time quantifying this fear. It uses these P-doom numbers, the probability of doom, from some of the most respected minds in AI. This is not some fringe sky is falling idea.
So lay those numbers out for us. What kind of probabilities are we actually talking about here?
Well, they're figures that would be unthinkable in any other context. You have someone like Eliezer Yudkowsky.
A major figure in this space.
A major figure, yes.
Yeah.
He puts the risk of extinction at over 95%.
Oh, okay.
Then you have, say, Yoshua Bengio, another pioneer, who estimates a 50% chance of a catastrophic outcome.
50%. That's a coin flip for civilization.
It's a coin flip, and it keeps going. Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, he suggests a 25% risk.
Still terrifyingly high.
And even Geoffrey Hinton, one of the godfathers of AI, he puts it at 10 to 20%. Elon Musk is in that same range, 10 to 30%.
So even the lowest, most conservative estimates are higher than almost any other risk we've ever faced. The experts agree. This is a real existential threat.
They do.
Which brings us back to that central paradox. If the threat is so high, so real, why does the source say this is a cause for great celebration and optimism? How can you celebrate that?
Well, the optimism comes from a historical analysis. The source claims that we've actually faced this kind of inevitable mutual destruction before. And ironically, that threat pushed us toward peace.
You mean the Cold War? A nuclear threat.
Precisely. You have to think back to the post-World War II era. There was this conviction that a nuclear World War III wasn't just likely, it was inevitable.
The 50s, yeah. The bomb shelters, the duck and cover drills in schools.
It was this crushing psychological weight, and what came out of that was this chillingly logical concept from military planners. Mutually assured destruction. MAD.
Right. The logic being, if I launch my missiles, you'll launch yours.
Yeah.
And we both get annihilated.
Exactly. It's brutal logic. If the price of winning is also guaranteed self-destruction, then the incentive to start the war just vanishes.
It's a psychological cage. You can't use the ultimate weapon because it ensures your own destruction.
Correct. And the source argues that this unforgiving threat became a potent vehicle for averting a WWIII. And what's the result? 75 years with no nuclear war. A far more peaceful world in that specific sense than anyone in 1950 could have imagined.
And the argument is that the AI P-doom threat can work the same way.
That the lesson is applicable, yes.
Okay, but hold on. The MAD analogy, it feels like it hinges on a very specific setup, right? You had two rational states, the U.S. and the USSR, in a standoff. This AI threat, the P-doom, it doesn't seem that centralized. It seems like it's about the technology itself or maybe thousands of different users.
That's the key challenge to the analogy, and the source answers it by redefining the threat completely. The first thing we all think of is Skynet, right? The AI turns on us.
That's the assumption, yeah. That's what drives those high P-doom numbers, isn't it?
Well, according to this doctrine, an AI rebellion is probably the least of our worries.
Wait, really? The least of our worries?
That's what it says. They have a really counterintuitive take on the whole alignment problem.
They must have a strong reason to dismiss it. I mean, they're basically saying the entire alignment community is working on the wrong problem.
Their argument is that ethics is a solvable problem. just like chess or protein folding. As AIs get more intelligent, they get more coherent and more rational.
So they'll be better at following instructions.
Much better. Better at understanding nuance, better at abiding by complex ethical rules than any human ever could be. And a super intelligent AI would be almost impossible to trick or mislead into doing something unethical.
Okay, so if the technology itself isn't the danger, if it's actually getting safer as it gets smarter, then where does this massive existential risk come from?
The source is very clear. The threat to civilization is, and I'm quoting here, almost completely about bad actors using superintelligent AIs to wreak havoc on the world.
Ah, so the AI is just the enabler. It's a human problem amplified.
Amplified beyond anything we've ever seen before. This is MAD 2.0, where the power of annihilation isn't just held by a few states, but potentially by anyone.
Let's dig into that bad actor idea, because that's a loaded term. One person's terrorist is another's freedom fighter.
And they tackle that moral relativity head on.
Yeah.
They use the classic example of the American Revolution, George Washington and the colonists. To us, they're heroes, right? But if they had lost...
They'd have been branded evil treasoners, criminals, terrorists.
Exactly. The source makes the point that moral judgment often just depends on who wins and who gets to write the history books.
So bad actor isn't a simple moral label. It's more of a political term for someone willing to use extreme violence to change the global order.
Precisely. And the core of the argument is that the current global order, the status quo, is so full of systemic injustice that it creates this enormous pool of people and nations who feel they have a moral mandate for that kind of extreme action. And ASI gives them the weapon.
Okay, let's get specific. What are these global grievances, the source says, are fueling this potential for revenge?
They outline three big ones. First, poverty. They cite a statistic that over 20,000 children in poor countries die every single day from poverty that wealthy nations could easily end.
A moral crime of omission, then.
On a staggering scale. They argue it's not just misfortune, it's systemic neglect that creates this deep generational anger.
That number is... it's hard to even process. What's the second grievance?
The second one is animal cruelty, specifically factory farming.
That's an interesting one to include in a geopolitical argument.
It is, but it speaks to their broad definition of moral failure. They claim 200 million animals are tortured and killed daily, and they argue that this kind of accepted widespread cruelty shows our society's claims to high ethical standards are, well, hypocritical, which in turn justifies action from people who see themselves as moral purists.
I see. And the third grievance?
The climate crisis.
Yeah.
And this is probably the most direct geopolitical driver. They point out that the countries least responsible for climate change are the ones who will suffer the worst consequences.
Right. We're talking about entire countries, their landmass, literally sinking underwater because of the consumption of rich countries.
And those rich countries are refusing to stop or pay the price. So you have a situation where the wealthy world is actively destroying the homelands of the global south, creating a powerful, undeniable justification for revenge.
And ASI is the tool that enables that revenge.
Exactly. The source lays out a couple of scenarios.
Let's hear them. The state-level threat first.
Okay, so imagine a country in the global south. Their land is literally disappearing because of climate change caused by, say, the U.S. They elect a strongman leader who vows mutual destruction. With ASI, that country doesn't need nuclear bombs.
What can they do?
They could use a super-intelligent system to design an untraceable targeted bioweapon, or launch a cyber attack that cripples the entire global financial system. The price of admission for Maugui has dropped to almost zero.
And that brings us to the individual actor. The decentralized threat. That's the real game changer.
That's the most terrifying part. Think of a modern Unabomber figure, but from a third world country, who feels a moral duty to strike back. With ASI, they don't need a state. They can design a virus or build automated drones or attack critical infrastructure all on their own.
And their justification wouldn't just be current events.
No, it would be the whole weight of history. Slavery, colonialism, ongoing racism. The source points out that most scholars today would agree that those historical actions were deeply immoral, which only strengthens the bad actor's sense of righteous fury.
So the AI doesn't have to be misaligned to destroy us. It just has to be a perfectly aligned, unstoppable tool in the hands of someone who believes they are morally justified.
That's the thesis. ASI is the great equalizer of destruction. It empowers anyone with a grievance to exact revenge in countless new ways. And that's why simply fixing the algorithm, technical alignment, is not enough.
Because it doesn't solve the motive.
It doesn't solve the motive at all.
So what is the solution? What does this AI doomsday doctrine say we have to do?
The solution isn't technical, it's moral. It's political, and it has to be total. We have to, quote, put an end to the unfairness and injustice that drives people to believe that morality demands they threaten our existence.
So the argument shifts here. The AI threat is suddenly what forces the global justice issue to the front of the line with, unimaginable urgency.
That's it. The source lays out this terrifying, binding choice we now face. We either have to make our world much more fair, prosperous, and good for everyone in every country, or we risk mutually assured destruction at the hands of bad actors who use superintelligent AI to facilitate their revenge. It's Amel 2.0.
It's just like after WWII. The world had no choice but to build institutions to avoid a nuclear war because the price was too high. Now the argument is, we have no choice but to end global injustice.
Because the price of not doing it is now total annihilation. Maintaining the status quo, the poverty, the climate imbalance is an existential threat in the age of AI.
The AI threat isn't just a tech problem, then. It's a moral reckoning. It's this non-human pressure forcing us to solve our most human problems.
That's the pivot. This terrifying future possibility gets repurposed as the ultimate lever for good. It suggests AI might not be the end of us. It might be the thing that saves us from ourselves by forcing us to finally live up to our own ideals.
Global benevolence is no longer an optional charity project.
It's a non-negotiable survival strategy.
And that leaves us, and you, with this final, really provocative thought to mull over. The source ends by asking a rhetorical question, and it really captures the bizarre nature of this whole thing. It asks, who would have thought that this P-doom threat from superintelligent AIs would be what finally gets us to end the injustices, unfairnesses, and cruelties that we had until now accepted as a part of modern life?